What's up guys, Alex here with another ChatGPT video. In this video we created our own little HTML web page here. Has a little prompt input box. We have 2 pages here and it's our own ChatGPT, so we can say hello AI, how are you feeling today? What's going on in this model is, what's going on with ChatGPT is it takes these prompts, it reconstructs them in the back end, it hits the models with a new variation of the prompt, constructs a response, and then outputs it for you. So in this case, he's saying, how can I help today? And I say, what's 5 plus 5? So you know one of the problems with ChatGPT is he can't do math. That's because he has some restrictions on doing math. They don't want people, he's just a product, he's like a demo product. So they don't want people using him for like math problems and stuff like that. In this case, you can see, I don't know what's taking this guy so long. There might be a problem with the API. There you go. See, he just left for a minute. He does have trouble sometimes. He doesn't always get the prompts. He's still kind of in a buggy mode. You see he has the response, but this is just his tracking in the background, so he keeps track of the conversation that we're having. So I can say, like, very good. What's something a little harder? Let's do 100 divided by 2.5 times 3. I don't know if that's right, so it would be 20, it would be 40. Yeah, that's right. So he does do math. He can act like somebody. I want you to act like, I don't know, let's do a Mr. T and respond to my questions. Again, the output sometimes is a little bit clunky as we get longer and longer here. He might mess up here, but he says, I pity the fool who doesn't understand basic math. See, he's pretty good. He's reading in our past conversation, and now he's responding with Mr. T. Now we can have a conversation with him. What day is it? Now, he actually doesn't know this, I don't think. They mess up on the day. Yeah, today's not Monday. Today is, I'm recording this on a Saturday. So, no, he's not right on that. He can do math, but he can't tell me the day of the week. Very strange. But anyway, I'm going to show you guys how to make this. Now, before this gets too overwhelming, this right here is just Visual Studio Code. Think of this as just like a text editor. So I have a folder here on my desktop. Let me find it here. So I have this folder on my desktop. It has these different files in it. And these are just text files. You see if I click over one, it just has a whole bunch of stuff in it. Just like text. This editor right here allows me to edit these files in a way that's visually appealing, that allows me to code essentially. So this is, it's not hard. This looks complicated. It's really not. Also, I'm going to give you all this code in a Google. You can download it from my Google link, or I'll have it attached to the product. I'll put this live on the internet. You guys can play with it yourself and download the code from there. But I'm going to show you what it takes to make this. It's not, again, not hard. I'm not a coder. Friggin' ChatGPT walked me through this. I just know a little bit. So right off the bat, let's just talk about the 3 types of files we have in here. So we have these HTML files. So you'll see, let's run this again. You'll see on our guy here, we actually have 2 pages. So there's an About Us page and an AI Assistance page. That's what these HTML files are. They create the elements on the page. So you see, like in this HTML file, you have this output. We have this header right here. This is just what, you know, what the script that's running in the background. This is all background stuff. And this is the actual page here. So we have a navigation bar at the top, which we do. It's right there, AI Assistant and About Us. Then the next thing is the main area. We have the title AI Assistant, followed by the output box right here, followed by the input container. This is all the stuff that goes for the input. And of course we have that. So it's the output box, input container, a couple buttons at the bottom, and those buttons are right here. You see it says button, reset button, what it's titled. If we change that title, we can see in real time. It actually modifies it. So we leave this here, move this over a little bit, bring this back on top. See it says reset button. Now we can say like just change it to reset here. And in real time, it's going to fix that for us. So yeah, so we can edit this code. This code just corresponds to, this HTML code just corresponds to what you're seeing on your little website. So then the other page is this about page. Again, we just set it up. We have a header here. We have the body. We have it calls some different. Those links are calling to these links. So in the header right here, where it says about, it links to this HTML document. So then it lays out this page whenever you click that about. So that's how pages are being switched. The other type here is the styles. So this is the CSS page. So, and the difference between these three is they're just different languages. So if you look at all three types, they all just look different from each other. But it's, this one, the CSS file just controls what the actual overall output looks like. So you can see with the output box, we gave it a margin. You know, here's the output box. It has a certain height, 400 pixels. We have a width here, we have a black border, we've aligned the text center. So we just do some alignment stuff. Again, ChatGPT can walk you through what capabilities it has, what elements it has in the background. You can modify this to be your own liking. It can look like anything that you want it to look. Also, this is just a very easy way of doing this. Of course, you can always just get a website, put like WordPress on it, and then just get the JS part and put that on your website. But the JS part is the actual script. So when we run our AI assistant here, this is what's causing it to ping ChatGPT. So you can see we set some variables up here at the top. We have this document listener. So this is listening for the document to be loaded, and then it's going to set these variables to these different buttons. So now I can use these variables in my code down here, and I'm referring to these different buttons. Like for example, reset button, get element by ID is the reset button. So this variable is set to this button, and now when I go down here to the reset button, right here, this is the code that's, so that button is listening for a click, and then on the click, it just resets essentially the output box to say, I've been your servant, or whatever, service your master, and then the conversation it gives it, this is like the array that's, as we converse, it just adds more and more lines to this thing, so it always knows the past conversation. So it just resets that array. And we see at the top here, we initially set it to that same thing, and then same thing with the personality. I give it like a prompt, so this is where you could have it start off as a different AI, and this isn't seen by the user or anything. This is like what he's seeing before he gets the full prompt. Okay, so going down this again, we have this listener, we set these different variables, we set this output box so that he sees, so that you see that, that code when it first comes up here. So you see right here, this output box, it starts off with this, that's what you're seeing right here. And then we have this thing, it's listening for an enter, so when I press enter, it gives it that conversation, and it's explaining that I said this to him, so he can keep track of that conversation. I added a new element here, so what I'm basically doing is adding that conversation to the output box right here. So basically this new line variable gets added, saves this input, whatever got inputted, and then outputs that input onto the next line. So whenever I type something, as we've seen, we can pull it up. So when I type hello, it gets printed up here at the top, so that's what that's doing. Then we have this ping GPT. This is the real deal here. So this whole thing basically sends this conversation over to my function that's ping GPT. It's getting a response back, creating that, outputting that response, and then appending that response to this conversation that we're having right here. So it outputs it. That's what these couple lines do. It outputs it to that output field that we have, and then we just basically continue the conversation here. When we go over the ChatGPT, I'm going to show you the no-code version. This is exactly like my code. The only thing I've taken out is my API key. So every time you ping ChatGPT, it's like tokens. Their tokens are like, it's like 0.002 of a penny for a word, essentially. So you can do 100 words for a penny. And so yeah, I've been using it. They give you, when you first sign up, they give you $18 for free. I've been using it for almost a month now. I'm only at like $12 used, just because you're using fractions of a penny. But yeah, you do have to have your own API key, and you get that at OpenAI.com. So you go over to OpenAI.com, you sign in to your deal here. If you sign in with a username and then go to view keys, it lets you create a new secret key here, and then once you've created that key, that's when they give you that $18 for free. Also on this, when we're talking about this OpenAI, you can come here. The playground is a really neat way for you to craft prompts. This is just like ChatGPT, except for it's unmodded, and this is what this is where like it's free to use this. But you can pick which model you want to ping here. You can set different temperatures. I have some other videos that go over what all these different variables are, but you can begin to craft or build any kind of character you want, or get any kind of prompts. Like you can have this write a blog. So if you just have an outline here, so it's like create an outline for a YouTube video on ChatGPT. Creates me an outline. I can say write a 1500 word blog using the outline. We could also say script for a YouTube video or whatever. We're going to change this length here because he's going to use up a bunch of tokens writing 1500 words. You can see he just goes to town using that outline. And he actually, I think, pumps out better content than ChatGPT since he's an unmodded version. So you got to think of ChatGPT as like a product. So it's like a product, kind of like Jasper or any of those other products. That's just crafting a prompt in a certain way. It has certain limitations, has other code that's modding it. Like, you know how sometimes you ask ChatGPT to act like a character, and he says, I'm just a AI assistant. Well, that's a different program coming in, because this guy will act like any character you tell him to act like. But anyway, so yeah, so that's just the OpenAI playground. But you want to go to the openai.com, get your key, put your key in here, and then you're just going to set, again, those different variables that you just saw on the screen. So we have like temperature, frequency, penalty, maximum length. Those are all right here in my my model. I've set them as a certain amount. This is a request, so don't worry too much about this part. This part, basically you're pinging this website, and this is all in the OpenAI documentation. So if you want to know what's going on here, you go over to documentation, you can go down here to completions, and it'll tell you, see, we're doing a post request to this completions thing. It tells you the different variables you're allowed to use when you're building. So remember I told you that we define the model, we have the prompt going in there, we have the max tokens, we have the frequency penalty and the presence penalty, but there's some other variables that do some other things that you could check out, you could add in. But anyway, so we make this, we set this URL here, we set up these options here. So this is the post request. This is a certain format that ChatGPT can take. Then we send, right here is a response. We're sending this URL. We're sending a fetch request to the URL that we define, this one right here. We're sending the options packet, and we're getting something back. And the thing we get back is this response. It returns the response to our other code. So remember we're here, and it saves it as the conversation. So it takes that response, adds that conversation to, or it takes the conversation, appends that response to the conversation. So it's just like a long running text deal. These right here are just the different buttons on the screen. So this is a reset button and its functionality. It basically just resets the output box, clears the conversation. This is a download button. So I'm going to say thank you for downloading, and don't forget to sub to the channel. And it downloads and then creates a zip file of the different, all these different files that I have going into this. So that all you have to do is load this up into your, you could load this up into Visual Studio. Go right here. This is like, so right here on the left hand side of Visual Studio is like a control panel. So this is the Explorer. So this lets me see the file that I'm in, run, debug, search. The other thing is extensions. So this thing has just tons and tons of extensions you can use with it. This will help in your coding as you learn how to do this. And again, you don't have to know any of this. You can just drop this stuff into ChatGPT, ask him what it does, he'll explain it to you, and then you can ask him to modify it in a certain way. If you get an error, you can drop that error into him and he'll tell you what the problem is. But the one thing you need on this is, under this extension, this live server, this allows you it basically allows me to run that HTML code in a real browser without having a website. So when I go bam, bam, this is a actual running, this is like a new browser. I'm actually running this code on a actual website. This is live. But anyway, so that is it as far as all the code. It's pretty simple. Like I said, if you're looking for just the easy version, just download these files, download Visual Studio Code, download these files from the link that's going to be in the description, and dump these files into here, get that live server, right click on it, and you get yourself a key and go to town. Don't forget to like and sub if you use this code. It really helps the channel. I'm trying to grow this thing. As you can see, it's brand new, so you'll be one of the early adopters if you like early. All right, see you guys later.